The idea of a zoo at Thompson Park began in 1916, when a former Watertown attorney, George Lawyer, suggested a zoo at the park would be a great attraction. But it wouldn't be until 1920, though, that action was taken, when 10-year-old Raleigh Fairbanks started the Park Zoo Club and raised enough money to purchase Bucko the bear, and when the Northern New York Trust donated 2 white-tailed deer to the park. The goal when it started was to create a naturalistic habitat that would offer its visitors an opportunity to enjoy the grace and beauty of our indigenous animals. But like zoos across the world at the time, care was far from what it is today. In the early 1900s, small habitats with little regard to safety for both humans and animals was the norm, and even in the largest zoos in the United States. Eventually, the zoo would acquire exotic animals, like African lions and monkeys and alligators, and continued to operate for decades with no admission fees and no budget to grow the size of the animals' habitats. The animals lived in tight quarters their entire lives. But the passing of the zoo's Tim the Lion in 1982 would see the seeds of change planted at the top of the park. The zoo needed to change, or the zoo needed to close. And change is what we did. With the help of the local community and more than a few miracles, the zoo raised money and grew. And in 1992, our mission changed entirely. We became a true conservancy, focused on the education and protection of native New York species, the only one of its kind. Gone were the cruel concrete floors. And in their place, lush grass and natural environments, where the animals under our care can live their best lives, under the best possible care. The old cages have all been destroyed. And replaced with water features, comfortable grounds, and room to run. After 101 years, Zoo New York is now home to many endangered and extirpated species, like elk, bald eagles, mountain lions, wolverine, and lynx, most of which are rescues who had nowhere else to go. The zoo, your zoo, is now something to be proud of. But in order to keep the mission going, we all need to look to the future. So here's where we are size-wise after 101 years of operation. This currently isn't the first time the zoo has faced challenges in growing. The zoo currently uses 12 acres in total to operate, but we started with much less space, and even less money. Now, 20 years later, it's time to grow again. And in order for this to work, we need to grow a lot. Over double, in fact. Zoo New York's master plan is to grow into our full 25-acre space that we have available, bringing in new species of animals and further expanding our mission of conservation and education, like the American bison, who at one time used to roam free all over New York and the entire East Coast. Sadly, 200 years ago, the last wild herd was slaughtered. But soon, you could see these mammoth animals roaming in a large-scale habitat here at the top of Thompson Park. These massive mammals can get up to over 2,000 pounds. The majestic moose is a rare sight here in New York State. In fact, the DEC estimates the population to be as little as 550 to 900 moose in all of northern New York. With our expansion, we'll be able to house and care for these important native species and do our part in the conservation to help keep these amazing animals here in New York. The fox can be seen all over New York, but they can also be very elusive, as they're mostly out on the hunt at night. Having a family of these stealthy predators would provide a world of wonderful education opportunities. Did you know that over 165 fish species call New York home? It only makes sense. New York has 7,500 lakes and ponds and 70,000 miles of rivers and streams. That's not including all the saltwater fish that call New York's ocean coast home. Fresh and saltwater aquariums at Zoo New York would allow everyone to come face to face with underwater nature like never before. Harbor seals weigh up to 285 pounds and measure up to 6 feet in length. And where you won't see them in the Adirondacks, they can be found spending the winter on our oceanic coasts. The harbor seal was once an abundant species in New York Harbor. Think of how much we can learn right here in northern New York with these amazing sea mammals calling Zoo New York home. Adventure parks are a fantastic way to get up and into nature. Now Zoo New York will become home to the first full adventure park in the Tri-County area, giving both adults and kids a great escape into adventure. Just think of all the possibilities there are for this gem on the top of the hill. We started with a little land, some donated deer, and a black bear named Bucko. Now, the zoo has grown to 12 acres of lush greenery and only native New York species. With a dedicated mission of conservation and education. But after 2 decades since our last master plan, it's become clear that the only way for the zoo to survive another 100 years is again to grow and make your zoo even better for the future generations of northern New York. Not just for our children, but our children's children. But in order for the zoo to stand the test of time, we need to find the path forward. Together.
Hello, Northern New York. Tim from the zoo here. Just wanted to let you know we are doing the 3rd annual Winter Wonder Lights again this year. Join in on the magic of the holidays for a family-friendly, one-of-a-kind zoo experience. We're lighting up the winter here at the top of the old Thompson Park with hundreds of thousands of twinkling lights. Join us as we'll have Mr. and Mrs. Claus here on a whole bunch of select dates, and you can just check the website zoonewyork.org for all the information. It's just $7 a ticket, and they can be purchased at the door. And it's going on from 5 to 8 on a whole bunch of days that are on the website there. And we wanted to throw a huge thing out. We had a whole bunch of help doing this. Wait Toyota, they sponsored the CHJC. They're part of the zoo crew too. Allstate also joined in with Agent Billy Joe Vecchio. She's actually sponsoring the Santa Station. That's really cool. And our good friends at Samaritan, they definitely came in. They came through, man. That was really nice of them. Also, Countryside Vets, they're in as partners. Amy Kenny Realty, the good people at Amy Kenny Realty. So Amy Kenny, she's a sponsor. Pivot Services, Health Services, Pivot to Health. They're part of the zoo crew. Sitting Pretty, they do grooming of dogs and stuff. That's really fun. I don't think they've ever groomed a mountain lion here. I wouldn't suggest that, but they do dogs and stuff. Contech Building Systems. Huge to have. They're a new partner this year, so we're really happy about all that. We'd also like to thank board members Justin Hall and Julia Brennan Dame who donated money to help make this happen. That was really awesome. Thanks, guys. Stewart's Shops, hot chocolate sponsor, which is really fun. Also, Froggy97 and Stevens Media, they are our big media sponsor this year for Winter Wonderlight. So thank you, and you can listen to us every Wednesday. We're out there talking about zoo stuff. So yeah, thanks. It's pretty awesome. We can't do this stuff without all our friends out there in the community. So thank you so much for supporting Zoo New York on the top of Thompson Park, and we will see you at this year's Winter Wonderlights. Bye.
Meet Tess, the North American black bear. To us here at the zoo, she's a very special bear. As part of our enrichment here at the zoo, and out of my pure curiosity, The zoo has allowed me to play for some of the animals under our care, just to see what they think and study how they react. Sometimes she'll charge the walls a bit, but doesn't seem to be actually aggressive. In fact, black bears are not very aggressive at all. Almost all black bear attacks that have happened in the last 122 years started with a scuffle that broke out between a dog and a bear. She doesn't seem to care for me walking away from her very much, but she does seem to enjoy going on a walk.
I'm coming. Someday we might fall. Some days might feel cold and dark. It don't matter to me wherever we are, I will be. However once in our life, let's take our chance and hold it down. You can be my lucky man, I can be your soul. Here's my girl.
I think more testing is needed, but so far, Tess seems cool with it.
What'd you think?
To meet Tess and learn more about the North American black bear, you can stop down to Zoo New York at the top of Thompson Park or visit zoonewyork.org. It's time for this year's Winter Zoo Discovery Days, a week-long program at Zoo New York. February 20th through the 24th, your children can work with our expert zoo staff and learn all about the magic of nature through the winter. They'll learn how animals live in the snow and meet some of the animals in our care up close to see how they've adapted over centuries to live in the North Country weather. Your child will also learn how plants survive during the winter. Where do the turtles and the frogs go? Where do the birds go in the winter? Do they all migrate? And how do they know where to go? And your child will explore all of the snowy wonders in the zoo with lots of fun wintertime crafts and activities. The Winter Zoo Discovery Days is a safe way for your children to connect to the magic of the natural world all around them. Camp admission for the week is only $175 for members and $195 for non-members. There's also a discount if you have multiple children attending, but act fast because the registration deadline is February 1st. To learn more about Winter Zoo Discovery Days, visit zoonewyork.org. For over 100 years, there's been a zoo at the top of Thompson Park. And for many, it's the only time they'll be able to see animals like elk, gray wolves, mountain lions, or wolverines alive. To the workers and the keepers at the zoo, this isn't just a job. This is a mission of teaching the next generation to love the natural world around them and what their part in it all means. A mission of rescuing our native New York animals from extinction through education and active involvement. You see, here at Zoo New York, we know there are problems, but we want to focus on solutions and what we can all do together.